All right. Hey everyone. So we got another update. Kind of just going over different things regarding the Darknet and also in the Oasis as well, where we have some familiar places in a very well, it's the basement of the Citadel now has basically a cave section where all of the different locations are located, and everything is slowly getting added back in. There's quite a lot of interesting things going on this front in terms of like the progress that's going to be going on with uh, a globe event on the 24th that is going to involve a um, Japanese pagoda and koi fish and the globe, and it'll be it's Japanese themed, and it'll be a 2-day event, 24th and the 25th, and we have Nina and Ran doing stream hosting for these two events. So there's going to be a lot of work that goes into this event. A lot of custom stuff that's going to go into this event on the 24th and 25th. Also, to update on things going on for Darknet and everything like that. Well, I've had my doubts about like running events on the when everything's this early and everything like that. I really don't think that things are that bad off. And I found myself getting pretty frustrated trying to explain some very simple things that, in all honesty, if I just go ahead and begin just doing my own take on how to implement all this stuff, then fine. Even if it's not perfect, at least it works, and here we go, and and everything like that. So there was a folder here in the core scripts, and I removed it because now it's just mostly stuff that's going to be these prefabs for like the mirror button, like being able to toggle a mirror on and audio link and everything like that. For the most part, the environment is good to go for what we want to do on the 31st, although I could probably do a little bit more custom work in terms of like the audio link and things of that nature. I'm mostly worried about a lot of the very technical side of things when it comes to um, Darknet because, well, there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to like having to host your own server and getting everything all set up. I think I'm going to have that done in the next couple of days, and we'll actually be able to hang out in the in a persistent lobby that's going to be ready to go before the big event on the 31st. I'll make a flyer for it, and I got to make a flyer for the 24th and 25th event as well, which so we got a lot of things going on in both VR chat and in Darknet potentially by the end of this month. And let me go over just a little bit of what I was talking about before. So I'm beginning to implement what I call the player add-on manager, right? So if you remember anything that I was talking about before, um, you'll probably remember that I was talking about having a base class from which all add-ons are derived, and that is exactly what I have right now, right? And from here's a list of every single one of these types of add-ons. Now, these add-ons are done in such a way where they derive from the player add-on so it's just literally a base class called player add-on, but then these are all scripts that are built on top of that, so they have logic and functionality that goes along with all of that. So we have a container, which is literally just a storage unit, an empty storage unit. There's 160 of these. So um, I'll get into that for a second. The way I'm setting up the server, I went over the code of the server and I have to compile it on and everything like that. But I'm capping the number of people who can join a lobby to 160 because I feel that 160 is like really high, and it was before things started to get really bad when the last basis playtest was going. And honestly, I think 160 is even that is a little much. Like 120 is probably absolutely fine. I don't know what it will be like if we fill the current venue that I have right now with 160 people. That is two fucking lobbies. Uh, Whatever. So, um, So I'm planning to pretty much hard code most of the stuff around 160. You'll notice that there's a 160 empty containers. They're all disabled by default, right? Now the way the container system is going to work, but it doesn't work at the moment. The way I'm kind of setting this up is that uh, whenever you join the lobby, it figures out which of these objects are relevant to you because you're the person who joined, right? And then it duplicates from these templates. It instantiates from these templates. Now, I know that Dooley was suggesting that I would use I would use addressables instead of just instantiating from templates that are already existing in the world. For one, that causes other issues where these objects have interconnectivity. For example, the hand menu has interconnectivity with the chat bubble because the chat bubble right now has an input in order for you to be able to type in whatever it is that you're going to do. That has to be part of the hand menu. So the hand menu is so like there's interconnectivity between these objects and they need to be aware of each other. So it's way better to just have an existing setup where everything is hooked up correctly and with their interdependencies and stuff like that in such a way, and then instantiate the objects as needed. Instantiate just means to like copy and to make duplicates of an existing version of it, drop it, make it so that the container is no longer a disabled game object, set the ownership for all of the objects that are inside of each container to whatever the container's ownership value is, and ownership tag or whatever it is, and then make it so that each player gains ownership of their respective container. And as players are joining and leaving and everything like that, when somebody leaves, we delete all of the objects in the container, and 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 that should be a very organized way of dealing with the fact that we're probably going to have 160 duplicates of a lot of these objects. Now you'll also notice too, only stuff that is networked is going to be copied for players that are remote or simulated over the network, right? So personal mirror is not one of the objects that'll get copied for one of the other clients who's joined the lobby. So it'll just be for you. So like the name tag is a networked object. I'm going to do my own name tag because the name tag that's currently in basis um, is being done using its own proprietary system, and I'm going to just make my own thing that's above the player's head that can hold multiple things. So this chat bubble will encompass the same UI elements, kind of like stacked on top of each other, in a way that they like if the player types a bunch of stuff out, it makes the name tag go up slightly, or it can kind of react in a like a logical way, right? So like so that's everything that's going on. So yeah, I'm sitting here and I'm doing all this like talking and everything like that. And you know how people are when sometimes they can talk until the end of time, but they don't ever do any walking. So I've done a pretty decent amount of walking about getting all this sort of fleshed out, and I'm just going to do my own versions of all of these different things. The player add-on manager will collect all of the different attachment points that are needed to be uh, or all of the different attachment points that are needed for each particular situation. And then when I instantiate each of these things, like the name tag, the emoji system. I guess the emoji system only pops in place when you need it to, and like stickers and stuff like that. The chat bubble and the name tag, for example, will check to see the current player's thing, and then instantiate them, and then put them into the respective container so that they are correctly owned by that particular player, and then um, and then placed above the player's head, using a similar system. I'm just going to hijack whatever like logic that was used for making the name tag or whatever. So I'm probably not going to be using Dooley's name tag. I'm just going to use my own name tag and modify it slightly or something along those lines, so that we can have both the name tag and the chat bubble uh, working together in a logical way. Um, and that's about it for now. There's also a lot of other things going on in Oasis because a lot of the locations are being updated because of, for example, the beach location. Bloody Oasis doing a bunch of stuff down there. Um, there's been a lot of work just in general for different stuff happening. Venture community, this right here, this area, I'm not happy with it. Although it probably really isn't that far away from being something that could be pretty good. But I might be increasing the size of this building, either that or making it 2 stories tall instead of just 1 story, so that there's just a little bit more space. There's nothing wrong with having like a tight space for your event, but it might be a little bit tight. I don't know, maybe it might be. I don't I know that Serenity wants to have a private residence spot or something along those lines, which could probably happen if I just reshape the way the top part is here and everything like that. Trying to think if there's anything else. Like, it's interesting to me that I'm actually getting these videos, like I'm actually just doing these videos, and I'm just gonna cut through any like side stuff and not talk about anything before I get to the point. So you'll probably just get raw updates on everything that's currently going on. I'm trying to think if there's anything else off the top of my head. We have a lot of stuff coming up in February, but that's like a little bit too far away to be talking about necessarily. Um, uh, I know that there's some requests to make it so that these crystals, these big crystals, can be the smaller versions that can be placed around. I know that before February, I want to make sure that Dropship has um, this area up here, which I guess most of you are watching this probably don't even know this is a thing, but will be completely rebuilt. This entire section right here is just going to be completely changed so that it allows for dropship events, which will be pretty interesting. I'm pretty sure Nessie will be happy about that. So, let's see, what else is there? There's bound to be something else. No. No, honestly, that's about it. So, all right, that's today's update. I hope you guys are having a good time with everything that's going on. This weekend's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to it, and stay tuned as I'm just making progress. Take it easy.